major live before.
Yeah, it's going back and forth is the problem.
I feel ya.
Yep.
Talking to you, checking this.
All right, hey everybody. Top of the morning to ya. Got some music to make together. This first one is called "Welcome to the Dark." It's one I wrote just for all y'all. And as we kind of start our conversation surrounding grief today, just know it's not trying to minimize the realities of that and make it all tidy and happy and all that. It's really just acknowledging that a lot of good comes when we're in those dark spots. So this is "Welcome to the Dark." You've been feeling far away from yourself, like a trembling heart is in a glass on the shelf, and you're alone in the dark. You feel like anything could be there, like there's an endless ocean or a bottomless stair. Ooh. When your belly is a stone, feel like a stranger in your home, terrified by the freedom you feel. You can't quite tell what is real. Listen to this part and sing along. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark, where it all starts. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark, where it all starts. It starts in the dark. Have you found yourself bleached in the sun without a hope of finishing what you've begun? Helpless heart, calcified, can't move to keep yourself alive. Ooh. In the stillness of the room, the blankness of the page, amidst the lonesome forest howls for the blinding light of day. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark, where it all starts. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark. the dark. Where it all starts in the dark. You go back to the place you told yourself was alive, a primordial dark when you close your eyes. There's a spirit there over the deep, hovering and singing you to sleep. Don't be afraid of the darkness inside, or that there's nowhere left to hide. When it overtakes all you've hardened, you find yourself deep in a garden. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark. Where it all starts. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark, where it all starts in the dark. Hard as it might be with everything you've seen, I'll close my eyes in peace, knowing there's more than it seems, and I'll say welcome, and I'll say welcome. I'll say welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark, where it all starts. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark. Welcome to the dark, where it all starts. It starts in the dark. Thank you. Yeah, well, I would invite you as you're feeling it and feeling able to stand up as we sing this next one together. Yeah, it's called Be Where You Are. I'm having struggles here, people.
Oh, no.
All right. That was close. My friend, have you lost hold again? You feel like somebody else. Have you got fire in your mind? Keeps you up at night. I watch you run around head down and disregarded. I see you running from your shadow. Can I ask you please to stay? You can run till you've got nothing left. You still end up face to face. Yes, be where you are. Sing that out. life in past or future. Look right at it in the eye. After this moment, there's a new one. Sing, sing. Be where you are. Be where you are. I know that it gets lonely and dark and it feels hard. And I know that you wanna close off your heart. You've been using all the noise to avoid meeting your mess. You don't have to work so hard. Just stop and take a breath and be where you are. Be where you are. Well, if you haven't actually stopped and taken a breath yet, I'd encourage you to do that, to let yourself have that freely. One of the few things that you can have for free these days. Go ahead and have a seat if you would, please. I'd love for you to feel stable and solid and held by the chair beneath you, and the floor beneath that, the sand and clay and stone beneath that. And so we get to start some new conversations today, and talking about grief, and I think a lot of times that's connected to a lot of the deep unknowns that we have, whether it's death or the future or whatnot. And I think this is a great space for us to just sort of like sit with the mystery of that and breathe it in and be okay with some not knowing, some uncertainty. And I'd encourage you to just let yourself be in whatever way feels good here today, to know that there are people around you that care about you, and who will sit amidst your uncertainty and all that with you. Maybe call out a little bit of the sweetness and the good. Katie's going to lead this next song. I think it's a pretty sweet tune that ends up getting played in our house pretty regularly. It's called Rainbow by Casey Musgraves. So I'm cheating with my capo today, so I'm needing to tune up a little here.
You just have so many buttons and knobs over there.
Sorry. All right.
When it rains, it pours, but you didn't even notice. It ain't raining anymore. It's hard to breathe when all you know is the struggle of staying above the rising water line. The sky is finally open. The rain and wind stop blowing, but you're stuck out in the same old storm again. You hold tight to your umbrella. Darling, I'm just trying to tell ya that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. You can see what I see. You be blinded by the colors, yellow, red, and orange and green, and at least a million others. Tie up the bow, take off your coat, and take a look around. The sky is finally open. Rain and wind stop blowing, but you're stuck out in the same old storm again. You hold tight to your umbrella. Darling, I'm just trying to tell ya that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. So tie up the bow, take off your coat, and take a look around. Everything is all right now. The sky is finally open. Rain and wind stop blowing, but you're stuck out in the same old storm again. You hold tight to your umbrella. Darling, I'm just trying to tell ya that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. Yeah, there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. I'm Katie Shala Leshak. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for being a part of Fabric this morning. Whether you're here in person or on the live stream or listening later on in the podcast, it's really nice to have you with us. Anyone ever paid any attention to the whole We Do Not Care Club thing? So I'm going to channel it right here. I got a long list of stuff, but it's fine. We'll get through it. All right. So we said good morning. Last week was MEA. A lot of you were off, out and about, maybe up north with the fall colors, and some of us were here doing a service project together. I walked in, and it's just tables set up and baby stuff. And so we worked on making newborn kits together to send to neighbors across the globe. And it was really interesting to me, that sense of community, when we did this together, and the conversations I had and the people I met as we were just walking through, stacking up cloth diapers and baby shirts and hats and tying things up in a bow. It was really neat. So for me, it was fun to be a part of that. All right, check. Sorry. So MEA is done. Pumpkin lattes are moving into eggnog and whatever's in the store. So just in time, our youth, our Fabric youth, are preparing for the Christmas production. And when I say production, I do mean production. So auditions have finished, casting has finished, rehearsals have begun. I know. And not only that, but like tech setup and set building. So it's going to be epic as always. So mark your calendars for December 14th in the morning. Be here and enjoy the show. Don't be here. Be at Richfield Lutheran, because that's where it's going to be. They have a real stage, and we have new friends over there, speaking of building community. So that is going to be epic. All right, so fabric, weaving things together. Where is Richfield Lutheran? I believe it's across from Cub on Nicollet and 60th. You really can't miss it. There's Big Jesus there, I think, if I remember correctly. All right. Check. So there are other kids who are younger, say 6 months to a year to 2 years to 3 years, somewhere in there. We have the nest for babies. We got people ready to hold and comfort and cuddle and play with your young kids. You can go to the kids table here to learn more about other kids' activities that are going out. It's that fun, like, starry night table out in the lobby. If you didn't get your coffee or tea, go ahead and get some. This is a place where you can actually stand up in the middle and walk across the room and get coffee. It's just part of the deal. It's okay. There's all the bathrooms out there, and now we have super fancy new signs that tell you exactly where to find which kind of bathroom for which type of need that you may have. Special welcome to first-timers, as always. May you become second-timers. That would be wonderful. To learn more, there's a welcome table. You can chat with Melissa. She's very friendly. We may or may not have gifts. Yeah, we do. You're a first-timer. No one's going to say no if you say, I heard there was like a free t-shirt or a bag or something. All right. So as Chris told you, we're starting our new CareIQ series. We're talking about grief. We are fun here. We do build community here, but it's not all fun and games, right? If you look over at our values, brave uncertainty is a big one. Braving uncertainty is so much better in community. And so that's one reason I'm very happy to be woven into fabric, into community this way. So I'm looking forward to that. Sunday paper. If you open your Sunday paper, there are some QR codes in here for various things. You can read about it, practice your QR coding skills. This Tuesday is What's Up with Fabric. It's also Taco Tuesday. We're combining the two things together. And so this is like our kind of an annual or semi-annual get-together to get updates, but in a fun way, and also to contribute to what is fabric, what is up with fabric, and what will be up with fabric. So please join us for that. That's Tuesday evening. There's food, and there's people, and a little bit of talking, but not a lot. But you'll learn some things. It is, thank you for the question. They want to know where is it. That is at the Fabric office, which is at the Center Belonging on Aldrich and 35th. Yes, good, thank you. 6:30 p.m. I so appreciate the help, everyone. Thank you so much. This is your Sunday paper. In here is a connection card. Please go ahead and just let us know that you're here. Put your name on here. Write us a note on the back. People will read it. You can say whatever you want. I'm not even gonna put limits on it. Think big. That's one of our things, isn't it? Yeah, think big, whimsify, choose connection, brave uncertainty, share warmth. Any of those things can happen here. Prayer requests also can happen here, and people who pray will take that and move with it. Thank you. All right. Did I miss anything else before I move on to wrapping up this? Merch. Oh, that's on the QR code. You can get your fabric merch. I put in for my sweatshirt. I haven't seen it yet, but it'll be here soon. Okay, so next we're going to say hi. If you have little ones and you want to figure out how to get them connected to little one things, go to the table. If you're new, talk to Melissa. If you're willing to talk to a neighbor, my suggestion would be to talk about Halloween, because that's coming up. I didn't get to celebrate as a kid, and now I hang out with my neighbors, and I love it. And I have a costume, but I'm not telling you what it is. So chat about that, get coffee, get tea, take a bathroom break, and thank you again for being here, everybody.
I love that. That was a big list. Yeah.
Testing, testing. Not that. Hello, hello. Yes? Good? Can you hear me? Testing, testing, testing. Thanks to the tech crew back there and to you patient live stream listeners. This is fancy microphone action going on here. So I think you can hear me, so that's good. I'm Melissa here at Field this morning. Happy almost Halloween. Happy Sunday. Happy fall. I get to sit here by these warm candles, and I hope you can feel some of the warmth in the room and the energy and feel the love being sent your way. And please let us know where you're listening from, watching from. We have a contact card on our website under, there's Ian. Hi, Ian. So love to hear from you that way and share any of the things Katie said. Requests, feedback, questions, updates about your life, all of that would be so welcome. Thanks for being Fabric with us and being community. We're kicking off this new conversation about beyond platitudes when we're faced with uncertainty and loss and grief. And as much as I like to avoid that stuff, it seems to come right along with life and loving people. And so I'm glad to have a community to practice with and figure out how to navigate those times together. So welcome. Thanks.
All right, we've got one more song here. One more song here before Ian starts talking. This one that's been playing on the radio quite a bit lately. So just kind of poking at some of those feelings of grief, and I'd encourage you to just sit with it and sing along if you want to. Early morning, there's a message on my phone. It's my mother saying, darling, please come home. I feel the worst, but how could you leave us all behind? There's so much to say, but there's so little time. So how do I say goodbye to someone who's been with me for my whole damn life? You gave me my name and the color of your eyes. I see your face when I look at mine. So how do I say goodbye when I couldn't? You always saw the best in me. Right or wrong, you were always on my side. But I'm scared of what life without you's like. And I saw the way you looked into her eyes. And I promise if you go, I will make sure she's alright. But how do I say goodbye to someone who's been with me for my whole damn life? You gave me my name and the color of your eyes. I see your face when I look at mine. So how do I say goodbye? And there's no way you could ever let me down. Gonna steal some time and start again. You'll always be my closest friend. And someday we are gonna make it out. Just hold the light. Just hold the light. So how do I say goodbye to someone who's been with me for my whole damn life? You gave me my name and the color of your eyes. I see your face when I look at mine. So how do I say goodbye? How do I say goodbye?
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. I'm Ian. It's good to be with you today. We're kicking off this new series, which always feels like a kind of a tonal shift. So, and today's kind of a big one. I mean, we've already named a little bit that we're talking about grief and loss and facing that honestly. So I like to say that we, around here we like to take life seriously, but not always ourselves. So somebody before we started today was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be heavy." So I said, if it gets too heavy, I'll just start tap dancing while we talk about grief or something wild. So you just give me the tap dancing cue, and I'm in. Over the last really couple months, in our last series, the Jesus Untamed series, we were talking about kind of the way that Jesus wasn't tame, he wasn't safe, and it really emerged out of this, just looking around at kind of the religious and spiritual landscape right now in our communities, in our country, and the way that Jesus has been kind of twisted into this mascot for power and something entirely other than maybe what you read when you open the Bible. So we kind of are diving into it a little bit, and maybe even getting reintroduced to Jesus, who wasn't safe or tame, but rather a prophetic teacher who showed what love looks like in real life, which felt like a good place to be for a while. And if that's what I'll say too, is that his call, his vision for the world wasn't abstract. I think oftentimes when we talk about Jesus, or we even talk about spirituality, it's done in this really abstract kind of way. But what we're trying to get into, and I hope you heard this at some point if you were around for that series, is that what Jesus was talking about, like the main point, I would summarize by saying what he was teaching was to love God, love people, and that's it. Like, the end. Love God, love people. Now, if that's the vision, which I feel like that's a good vision, right? Like, loving people feels like a good way to be in the world. And if that's the vision, the next question is, how do we live that out? So, loving people in theory is really good, but then you gotta be up close to people. And that gets a little hairy, that gets a little scary, that gets a little, I don't want to. That's real. And so, especially when life hurts, when people around us are grieving or experiencing loss, when we're grieving ourselves, when words fall short, how do we live this out? And so that's where this toolkit comes in. We've got our toolbox over here to represent the toolbox. There's a list kind of in the middle of the back of your Sunday paper, just kind of reviewing the CareIQ tools. CareIQ is a part of the how of loving our neighbors and loving ourselves too. There are a lot of things in life that are universal and easy to talk about, right? Like laughter is pretty universal. You can laugh across cultures and it's pretty easily, readily understood. There are, in jest, people say there's only two things in life that are guaranteed, right? Taxes and death, I think. But I think that when we take it seriously, when we look at life, yes, in life there are certain universal things. There is joy, there is connection. We are social animals, right? But also, because of who we are, because we are connected, because we are social in nature, grief, loss, these are universal human experiences. Grief is universal. It's just a part of being human. There's this popular quote, it's been attributed to a number of different people, but I love it, that grief is the price that we pay for love. Despite the universality of both love and grief as a part of the human experience, most of us, myself included, have a hard time facing it honestly. Because I don't know about you, but I find grieving to be deeply unpleasant. Not a fan. Not a fan. I don't like it, and it takes me out of my normal rhythms of life. It takes me out of my patterns of living. There's no normal when grief, especially when grief is fresh and raw. Normal is just right out the window. And so in a desperate attempt to kind of plow my way through it, I often avoid grief or try to explain it away or even reach for phrases that sound comforting but keep me from real connection or from healing, right? Maybe that's been your experience too. So as we get into this, I'm going to invite you just to ground yourself, feel the weight of your body in your seat, put your feet on the ground if that feels good. Stretch the crown of your head up to the ceiling. Take a big deep breath and let your tongue fall from the roof of your mouth, because I know it's up there. Mine lives up there. I want us to be able to face grief and loss honestly. And I think there's something about internet algorithms that is very creepy. But as soon as we started planning this series, Beyond Platitudes and talking specifically about grief, all of a sudden stuff was showing up in my email inbox, in the Substacks I was reading, in the social media feeds that I'm on, that all of a sudden grief is everywhere. And one of the things that I just learned about recently is Anderson Cooper's podcast, what's it called? All There Is. Have you familiar with this? It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Anderson Cooper, if you're not familiar, is a white-haired fox reporter from CNN. He's an incredible journalist, but really, as a human, as a person, outside of a role, outside of his job, he's a human. And that human lost a sibling and a dad at a really young age. And he stuffed it away for his whole career up to this point. And so now he's doing this podcast, All There Is, and it's really about grief. It's about loss. It's about connection across grief and loss. And like, how do we even process this stuff? So thank you to the algorithm for once, for introducing me to this. I want to play a little video clip from I was going to say recent, it was about a year ago now, an episode of that podcast. He was in conversation with a psychotherapist, author, and self-described soul activist named Francis Weller. And I want to play a few minutes from a portion of their conversation to get us right into the heart of today, which is facing grief honestly. So let's go ahead and play that.
I'm amazed that I'm 57 years old and, you know, from the outside, I guess relatively high functioning. And I mean, I held the job for a long time. And yet, as soon as I think about my dad, my voice cracks. I mean, I can't even, express it without my voice quavering. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't I be over this? This was 47 years ago.
To the boy, to your heart, to your soul, that time doesn't matter at all. It's grief that hasn't really fully been honored. There's a request from soul, from grief, that says we must honor these losses. If we don't, they really become like a sediment that settles on us and weighs us down. And
I certainly feel that. I feel
Yes.
that I put it in a box and I thought I'd sort of dealt with it and lived my life, and suddenly now I feel like it is banging on the door. I cannot get through a day without tearing up at times.
Is this a problem?
I don't know. I mean, it's nice in some ways because I'm feeling,
Yes.
because I've deadened myself for decades.
Yes. I mean, you've lived strategically. How do
Yes.
I avoid those depths? But at some point, the strategies fail. And then something more genuine is asked to be encountered. Is this a problem? Or is this actually a deepening of you? Drawing you into the depths of where your father still lives, where that loss still lives, where your brother still lives. They still are there. And when we honor them, we are deepened, we are ripened. Take your time.
That idea that, it amazes me sitting here, you say those words, and the idea of, they ring very true to me, the idea that deep inside me, my dad is still alive and my brother's still alive.
Yeah, it's the grief that is the knit between the two of you. So when we refuse to feel the grief, in a sense, we're pushing that relationship far away. And people say, I get to keep the love of those who have died. Well, the only way you get to keep that is by honoring the rights of grief. The rights of love involve grief. There's no separation between those two worlds. So to know your father, to know your brother, to stay in relationship with them, is to stay open to the tender melancholy of their absence.
Wouldn't it be better if they weren't so alive in my mind? Shouldn't I have evolved to a place where I can sort of think fondly of the memories I have without it, bringing tears to my eyes?
I think those tears are holy. And they speak to how much you loved your father and your brother and your mother.
We're trying to get honest about this universal experience of grief. I think often the really attention-getting moments of care are reactive, right? When we face unspeakable tragedy or something, and people activate into our lives. But what I would want to say here is that what we're trying to do right now is preemptively, proactively, developing practices before difficulty emerges, to really just get honest about grief and practice when it's easy. That's what this toolkit's all about. And so what we're up to is really more preventative care than emergency medicine. But when we can practice facing grief honestly and developing some language around it, that gives us tools to use in difficulty. And so when I look around at the world right now, I recognize that there is something of collective grief happening. There is sort of existential anxiety happening, right? Do you feel that? Yeah. And it's not even just existential anxiety. It's practical. And I think some of that anxiety might actually be a form of preemptive grief or anticipatory grief, right? If it's true that we grieve because we love, grief is the price we pay for love, I think that this is true. We grieve what we feel uncertain about structures or resources or even the physical safety of our neighbors, like the what could happen. And there's grief around that. So in times like this, we tend to polarize. Like for me, I have kind of two responses to this sort of anticipatory grief. I either pace, I'm like just my whole body's activated. I feel it in my skin. I kind of pace. Or maybe I shut down and look away. And so there's this kind of picture you can see. These are my two responses to grief and the sort of existential anxiety around us. I notice this in myself, even when people who I'm really close with are experiencing fresh grief, whether it's the loss of a loved one or the loss of a job or a big shift in life, right? Where I thought life was going to be this, but now something happened and now I'm faced with a future and a reality that I didn't choose for myself. And when this happens, I tend to want to either do something, do anything to try to fix it, or kind of close my eyes until the world feels a little safer again. Which doesn't feel good to admit, but I do that. I think that caring, providing tangible love up close, caring can sometimes bring up something like a fear response, like the fight or flight kind of thing. So there's that do something or close my eyes, do the ostrich, bury my head in the sand kind of thing. I think both reactions are rooted in grief. Grief for what's changing, for what I can't control, for what's been lost, for what might happen, but hasn't, but it could. And when we don't name that grief, it leaks out sideways, or it sits deep in our guts and just sort of ferments there, leaks out. Or as Francis Weller said, it can become like a sediment that weighs us down, right? That makes us really loggy. And so sometimes the response to grief is platitudes. And this series is called Beyond Platitudes. So when I don't know what to say, sometimes the first thought I have is something that if I were in their shoes would be very unhelpful to me, right? A platitude, just by definition, a platitude is a remark or a statement, especially one with moral content that has been used too often to be interesting or thoughtful. When I was 7 years old, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which is a chronic disease that every time I check my blood sugar, I'm reminded I still have it. So I still have it. But I remember when I was diagnosed, the first thing that my Dr. Benson told me was that I have diabetes. Okay, thought I was dying, for one. Didn't know what diabetes was. Thought I was dying, and you're going to go to the hospital. So I spent a week in the hospital and got really good care there, right? Learned about the disease, learned about how to manage it, all that kind of stuff. But when people would see me at the age of 7, like my kid is almost 7, I can't imagine this. But the first time that people would see me, they didn't know what to say, right? Because how do you, right? And I remember this one person, so my sister is like deathly afraid of needles, like passes out getting a flu shot, kind of scared. I'm not that way. And I remember somebody telling me, well, God doesn't give you more than you can handle. As a 7-year-old, I wanted to grab their throat, you know? Yeah. Wasn't helpful. Everything happens for a reason. That's not true. Stuff happens and it sucks, right? Yes. These platitudes that often come out, I think they're meant with love. They're meant with care. Like, I love you and I care about you and I don't even know what to say to you right now. They're meant with good intention, but good intention doesn't mean anything when the impact is what it is, right? Often these phrases do more to protect us from discomfort as the one saying these things. Like, I don't know what to say to you, so I'm just going to say everything happens for a reason. Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, believe that, right? It protects me from discomfort in that moment, but it doesn't actually do anything to help. It's not caring. It's not loving, right? So platitudes fail because they minimize pain. They have the chance to really minimize pain or try to make sense of something that just doesn't make sense or just hurts. Platitudes fail because they isolate us from one another. The person grieving might hear something like, you shouldn't feel this way. You shouldn't feel the way you're feeling. Or like, get over it, you know? No, man. Platitudes keep us safe from vulnerability. Like, if everything happens for a reason, then I don't have to feel this yuck with you. And so what if instead of explaining pain away, we could just name it? Just be honest about it, right? What if we could honor it, like what they were talking about in that podcast episode? You might remember, you might be familiar with the story from the Gospel of John about Jesus being with his friends, Mary and Martha and Lazarus. They were siblings. They were really close, like good friends. Lazarus wasn't just a name in a crowd. It was a person who was like a best buddy, right, of Jesus. And in the story, word got to him that Lazarus was sick, like on his deathbed. And by the time that Jesus finally gets around to showing up, Lazarus had already died. So he shows up, and I think it even says in the story, like he wasn't just like freshly dead, he was like stinky dead, right? And when he gets there, Mary and Martha are just wrecked. You know, they're grieving hard. And they're confused and they're angry. Each of them says something, some version of like, Jesus, if you had been here, this wouldn't have happened. And here's what's interesting in this story. Jesus, the Jesus of the Bible, not the mascot to power, Jesus doesn't correct them when they say, if you were here, this wouldn't have happened. He doesn't try to explain it away or offer a sort of tidy theological lesson about God's plan. Or like God needed another angel in heaven. That nonsense. What he does is he weeps. He just stops and he cries. Right there in the middle of the sorrow, surrounded by their pain, he lets himself feel it. It's the shortest verse in the entire Bible. And one of my favorites. Jesus wept. Now, Jesus in the story, he knows that the story isn't over. As the account goes, that he actually brings his friend back to life. So whatever you believe about that is fine. But even knowing that was coming, he still chooses to stop and to grieve and to weep. He doesn't skip the part where it hurts, where it just sucks. And that is something to pay attention to, I think. Because if Jesus, who I tend to think is like the embodiment of divine love, if Jesus doesn't bypass grief, then maybe I don't have to either. Maybe I don't need to bury my head in the sand. I think that maybe a part of following the example of this man is letting myself feel it deeply, to sit in it when it hurts, to sit in the ache with people instead of reaching for an explanation, to let love be as raw as it needs to be before it tries to be helpful. Jesus doesn't bypass grief. He doesn't say everything happens for a reason. He says, this hurts. Let's hurt together. So a takeaway for me here is that what's being modeled in that story and what's been modeled to me in my life in ways that are actually helpful is that grief and love are two sides of the same coin. Grief and love are two sides of the same coin. You only grieve deeply because you've loved deeply. We only experience grief because we've been loved well, or we have loved well, right? And so I think that when we weep, when we're facing grief, we are in the company of something divine and bigger than us. The first of the CareIQ tools that I want to lift up during this series is simple but kind of a profound question. It's just taking a moment to pause and ask, what's my role right now? When someone is grieving or when we're grieving, it helps to pause before reacting, like letting a breath be the first response. This question, what's my role? It changes things. It reminds us and it grounds us in the truth that we can't fix everything. When hurt is happening, we can't fix everything. And maybe we're not meant to. It invites honesty about what we can offer. Our presence, a meal, a text, a prayer, maybe not even a solution, even if that's what we've been tempted to activate into. This question, what's my role, helps us notice our discomfort even. Am I trying to help them, or am I trying to remove myself from discomfort? Just want to make sure we're all good here. When a friend loses a job maybe, or a loved one dies, right? When these things happen, my role might simply be to say, this hurts a lot. I'm sorry. This hurts, and I'm here. And that's care. Or when a kid's feeling afraid because they can't find a parent, getting down on their level like that, that's care up close, right? That's community love. It might be simple, but it's honest, it's human, and the honest human stuff is what holds. So in this series, across the next 5 weeks, we're attempting to move beyond platitudes and into more helpful ways of expressing care. I want to say here, too, that there seems to be a corollary between the value of these kinds of platitudes, that the statements that we sometimes offer or hear, and our proximity to moments that have caused great grief in our lives. It's easier for me to hear stuff like everything happens for a reason with the gift of hindsight, right? Like recognizing the ways that after the freshness and the rawness of grief has passed a little bit, like, yeah, I can grow. Yeah, I've learned stuff about myself and others. Yeah, I'm dealing with this differently now than I was when I found out the news of the passing of a loved one, whatever. But proximity to grief is really important in this, I think. And the platitudes we sometimes feel inclined to offer may even be helpful to us sometimes with distance. But when it's raw and it's new, what's helpful from a settled space may be deeply troubling to somebody else. Like when I was 7 and diagnosed with type 1 and heard, everything happens for a reason, God doesn't give you more than you can handle, blah, blah, blah. Like, didn't believe that, didn't love that. Not helpful. It broke trust with that person. I wanted to, you want to see how good I am at rolling my eyes? Say stuff like that when I'm grieving freshly, right? When I'm scared. But now, 32 years later, I still don't believe that God is some sort of anthropomorphic figure with a sadistic quota list. Not into that. But after distance from that initial moment, after establishing practices of self-care and finding myself in a community of support, I now believe that there's maybe nothing bigger than I can handle, but I know that there's nothing bigger than a community can't handle together. There are helpful alternatives in moments like that, though. Instead of everything happens for a reason, what if we said, this hurts. I see your hurt. And you don't have to pretend that it doesn't hurt. I'm here. I'm not going. That is what love sounds like in the language of care. And so, maybe this week, as we go out into the world and experience life together, when you notice someone else's pain, or you notice your own pain, loss, grief, maybe just stop for a moment, breathe, and wonder quietly to yourself, what's my role right now? And then you can practice saying something that's true and simple rather than something tidy and distancing. So let's just take a moment here to reflect a little bit. Take a minute to notice what grief has come up for you. What feeling of grief or loss has come up for you, maybe this morning even? Or what are you carrying with you? Maybe it's recent. Maybe it's old. Maybe it's really loud or quiet. Where have you tried to avoid it or explain it away? What might it look like to name the grief honestly this week? To yourself, to someone you love and trust, to the divine other. Sometimes we don't know exactly what to say, what to ask for, but I'd like to suggest that for many, sort of meditation and prayer can be a helpful tool as we wonder what our role is, or what we ought to do or say, or how we can show up. And so if it's helpful, I want to offer for you, to you, a simple prayer offered honestly from within and with a posture of listening for wisdom to settle in. And it is this: God, who is wisdom and care, teach me, teach us to tell the truth about what hurts. When words fall short, help our care to hold. Give us courage to face grief, our own and others, with honesty, humility, and love up close. May it be so.
Thank you. This would be a good moment to pass those little white baskety things that you might find on the floor, maybe in the aisle, and put your communication cards in there, or connection, whatever. And those will just end up probably down by the candles here. And thanks for all the ways that you put yourself into community, both in this space and beyond. And I'm going to sing a little bit more. This is the Cloud Cult set. So just a couple more tunes here this morning. And yeah, I thought, I guess for me personally, I have maybe wept to more Cloud Cult songs than any other artist out there. So, this first one is it's called "As Beautiful as It Hurts." It's off their new album, and then the other one is called "Through the Ages." So, feel free to sit or move how you need to, sing along. Through the universe, screaming for all the word. Blessing, or is it a curse? It's as beautiful as it hurts.
Gotta make the most of my life. Though I make mistakes all the time. Give my foolish pride. But please know I tried. I need to think it's gonna be alright.
tried to make things better this time around. Say easy come, but it ain't easy to let go. It's the spin of the stories we tell. It's making friends with our wounded selves. It's giving thanks when it's going well. Keeping hope when it goes to hell. So where you gonna go today? Now that all your plans have changed, you know you can't run away. Though the wolves are calling your name, I think it's gonna be okay. I think it's gonna be okay. Tumbling through the universe, screaming for all we're worth. Is it a blessing or is it a curse? That it's as beautiful as it hurts. If life is a story meant to live through, then both me and you are the pages. I'll tell you a tale, and most of it's true. You see, I came here for you through the ages. Once there was a wanderer who wandered for you, and I wandered for you through the ages. Through rainbows, tornadoes, volcanoes, typhoons, I made it through to be with you through the ages. We were born on a lightning bolt, grew up in the ocean, so traveled through 10,000 miles. So if ever I can't see the magic around me, please take my hands off my eyes. Done being stupid, worried and dramatic. I lay down my every disguise. So if ever I can't see the magic around me, please take my hands off my eyes. Eyes, eyes. But we came here to be, we came here to be courageous. I don't know what's to come, but I'll stay beside you. I'll stay beside you through the ages. Life is a story we're meant to live through, then both me and you are the pages.
Every time I hear a Cloud Cult song, I'm reminded that's one of my favorite songs. Every one of their songs. That's so great. Thank you. Thanks for being here today. We are looking forward to Tuesday night, Taco Tuesday. What's Up with Fabric meeting. It's at the Center of Belonging. I know you've heard that already, but we have pulled pork and brisket thawing right now already. So there's gonna be food. So please do come hungry on Tuesday night and come hang out and find out what's up with Fabric. Thank you for being here. Thanks for facing this stuff honestly. It takes courage to talk about grief. You are courageous. If you don't see it, take your hands off your eyes. Thanks for being here. And yeah? What? Oh, we did baskets. If you have a connection card, you can pop it up here. Yeah. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being Fabric. Let's go out there and do it this week. Take care.